Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Chalkbox Talk. We are in episode 2. My name is Juan Jimenez, head coach at Austin Elite Gymnastics. Today, we're at my home gym talking to a dear friend of mine, Marissa Mendoza, head coach at Replex. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, everybody. My name is Marissa, like he said. I know Juan from, I don't know how many years now, like...
8 years, I think. 7, 8 years.
8, yeah. We worked together in Houston, and I know from a long time ago he said that he wanted this to happen, and we've been waiting, and finally it's here. And I actually did not imagine myself in this
years,
chair.
Right?
Yeah, I think you said it like 2-3 years ago that it was like, yeah, I'm starting this, and I was like, yeah, cool.
It's a slow burn.
But I never imagined like me being in it. Like, I was definitely excited to do it, but I'm always nervous in front of like camera and stuff. So, but I was like, what else could go wrong? It's just going to be a conversation. So hopefully it all goes well because.
Where do you coach? Tell everybody where you coach, where they can find you for any reason. Parents in Houston.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I coach at Replex Gymnastics in Pearland. It's a little bit in the outskirts of Houston. It's a fairly small program right now. Well, it's been growing. Whenever I came to the gym, there was about maybe like 20 girls total. We're maybe around close to 50 now, so that's very exciting that the program is growing. And
we've competed in the same sessions. Your girls look good.
Yeah, thank you.
I've got some, like, on a coaching level. I've always got. I kind of know the answers to some of these questions, but I'm going to ask you anyway because I think that people should know. But I think before we get into the nooks and crannies of like coaching styles and like what we do and what we don't do and things like that, we do have some professional history because we've worked together. How long did we work together?
For about 5 years.
We worked 5 years at Discover Gymnastics in Houston, Texas. Also, Houston is a very specific city. I have to tell people. I have to like preface it. I'm in Austin now. It's such a different city. It is a very, very unique place to work, Houston, for gymnastics. And I think Discover Gymnastics even more unique because of the type of worker that Carly likes to hire.
Yeah, for sure.
And the type of system that it is, and like how fast paced that gym is specifically because of just a lot of details. I don't want to get into like how that gym specifically works, but like, what has been the biggest takeaway for you having been a worker ant under our head coach at the time, Castella?
Yeah.
What is the last name? Mihauk. Castella Mihauk. It was essentially a Romanian system. What is the biggest takeaway from that experience? Is there something that you've taken from that system, from our time working together, that you've taken
I think
to your programs?
I think I definitely still kind of look back into a lot of the things I learned there, because I could say that I started coaching at a very young age, and I did not start coaching there, but I definitely stepped out of where I was very quickly, knowing that I had a good opportunity there. And just knowing who worked there and like the different styles and the different type of coaching, and overall just working there was a lot of variety, I could say, of styles of coaching, and just a lot of people coming from different places, because not only did we have her as the head coach and having more of a Romanian system, but we had a lot of other styles with all the other coaches.
The Colombian coaches,
Russian coaches, Bulgarian coaches. I know, like Haifa being from Iraq, and like Jordan. And, there was a lot of different styles. And I think at the end of the day, we all kind of came together in a way. But I feel like something that you and I had in common that was maybe that we weren't the type of coaches that were hired there all the time. Were definitely somebody that was already known, or they were somebody. They were some
sort of Olympic champion.
Right. And so I think that's something that we had in common, that we definitely did not come up the same way, but we were also very open and learning. And I mean, we were eager. We wanted to be just as good or even better. You know what I mean?
I remember. I mean, we were the underdogs. I definitely felt like an underdog type of feeling working there for at least the beginning amount of time. I don't know about you specifically, but I remember for me, I remember feeling like I was an underdog because I didn't even come from gymnastics.
Right.
It wasn't even like I was a gymnast before or I had coached before. Or it was just like brand new, clean slate. I did not know anything about that. It was all luck where I just like happened to work there. I just wanted like a part-time job, and I just all of a sudden kept on getting more and more responsibility. And then I had the opportunity once Michelle and Hong left. I had the opportunity. They gave me some responsibility to work with the team, and I was like, okay, well, let me just take it. And then like every year, it was like more responsibility, more. And I remember the pressure because under that system, under Costella's system, not like it was a bad system or anything, but just I remember like you have to deliver. There has to be some sort of results. You have to try to prove yourself, and then you go out into the competition setting, whether it's compulsory or whether it's optional. And Houston is such a cutthroat city when it comes to gymnastics. You'll lose kids left and right because
there's so many options around.
Because there's so many options, and because so you have to make sure that like you're on top of it. You have to plan ahead. It wasn't just I used to think that it was just like, oh, I'll just coach today, we'll see how it goes. Like, no, you have to like plan so much in advance, and I didn't know that until working there and asking questions,
like
and
being felt like you're being judged throughout your rotation. Like you knew you had to like make sure that everything was running smoothly because you knew somebody was going to come up to you and tell you something.
If you weren't doing it.
Yeah, but I definitely, or doing it their way also, because that's also something that's very hard with gymnastics coaches overall, is that I guess we can be a little bit controlling in the sense of like, that's not the way that I would do it. And so then it's not right, you know? So, but I definitely felt like an underdog 100%. I feel more because of my age starting there. I was definitely the youngest. And for a very long time, I was kind of just, you know, shadowing, helping, obviously learning. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. But then also working under Costella, which was hard because she was my coach too as a gymnast. And so for a very long time, I felt like, you know, you just kind of have that relationship like coach athlete, that once you get put in the, you know, coach to coach position, you still feel like you're not there yet, or you're just not as good enough. And so she definitely never really made me feel so much like that. You know, I think it was just something that was in my head that I kind of just needed to, you know, step back a little bit or something like that, or kind of obey everything that she wanted me to do at the time. Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. I was just definitely the youngest, the newest, you know, the one that had the least experience, or one that, you know, just didn't come up as being a professional gymnast myself, or being a high level athlete or an Olympian, you know. So it definitely was hard at the beginning, but I feel like we were both so eager to learn and to, you know, give good results. And I feel like we did for a very long time.
I think there was a run that we had where you and I remember very distinctly, because the way that her system worked is that there always had to be a guy and a girl coach as partners, because that's their system. That's that I talked with Bray before about the Soviet Union system, but that's the system.
Yeah, it's like the girl coach can't coach bars and vaults. You have to be on beam.
And very old school mentality, but that's where we were. And I remember there was a run where we had some compulsory groups, which I think those girls right now are like at level 8 entering level 9 now.
Yeah.
And there was like a 2.5 year span where we were producing some compulsory groups that were like on fire.
Yeah, they were
like,
really good.
They were like, it was a very proud moment for me, because I remember thinking to myself like, oh, like I'm refining myself. These results are coming in, and then I'm proving myself to the other gyms that are worth their salt. When we would go to state and we would go to we would see like Kurt Thomas and Woga and Texas Dreams and all these gyms where, you know, there's Olympic champions there. And I didn't know the difference. I just thought like, man, they must be great, right? And I didn't know the ebbs and flows of gymnastics. I didn't know any of that, but I remember thinking to myself like, oh, like these are the moments where I've got to like try to get the best results as possible. But we had a run where you and I were like spearheading a good amount of compulsory groups that were kind of on fire, that were really great. And we also had, I think, 2 generations before we decided to stop it. We had 2 generations of tops athletes.
Yeah.
And
But I think what worked the most was really that we were both on the same page, and we would really talk about our plan and exactly what we wanted to do, and we both were on board with exactly what we wanted to do. So I think that's something that is very important at the end of the day, because you do find, or I have found myself in situations after being there where you kind of feel stuck in a way because you don't have that good working partner sometimes that is on the same page as you. You know, sometimes you get stuck with people that are just there to get a paycheck, or you're just there that aren't really, there for the kids, or there to, actually make something happen, but just, just there for a paycheck. So I think that is also something that was very important, because at the end of the day, it's really hard to make it happen all by yourself unless you have that one select group, which is really hard to find. It's really hard to have two also. And I mean, you got to be honest, you can't really do everything by yourself. So
yeah,